What is up, guys? Today we're going to be going through Job 2. Like I said, for the next few weeks, we're going to be covering Job. If y'all see me looking this way, got a new microphone thanks to Brother Jake. And he said he couldn't hear me, so we're going to thank him for that. Thank you for that, Jake. And let's go ahead and just hop on into it. Remember in Job 1 that the devil came to God, asked if he could curse Job. God said yes. And then he took all of Job's family, he took all of Job's cattle, oxen, stuff like that. But he left Job's wife. Keep that in mind as we go through chapter 2 here. Let's just go ahead and start at verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord, just like he did in chapter 1. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and walking up and down in it. Again, just like chapter 1. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him, to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will be give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. So keep in mind, Job's already lost all this stuff. All he has left is his wife. And Satan comes to God and he asks God, he says, Hey God, you've done all these things and Job stood steadfast for you. But what happens if you actually touch Job? And I feel like that's where so many people in Christianity today are at as well. They stand fast for the Lord when all this other stuff is going on around them, but as soon as something happens to them, they lose their faith in God. They see their friends going through turmoil and stuff like that, and they're like, it's okay, God is good. They'll try and encourage you through all this stuff, and that's great. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to be doing. But as soon as something happens to them and they get a little bit sad, or they feel like God isn't answering their prayers on time, then all of a sudden, God, where are you at? I can't believe you ain't doing this. And they lose their faith. They forget that God answers prayers in His time, not our time. And so they lose that faith in God. But watch what Job does here. He has his wife come to him. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. So the devil has come to God. He says, God, Job may have remained integrous through all this stuff. I don't know if integrous is a word. Ignore that part. But he's kept his integrity through all of this. But if you touch him, he's going to curse you. And not only has God given Satan the ability to touch Job and says, you can do anything to him, just don't kill him. And so Satan goes and puts all these bulls on Job's body. And obviously they're bulls. They probably hurt. I imagine them like giant, giant bulls is what I'm imagining here. And so Job goes and starts scraping them off. And then his wife comes to him, the one person who's supposed to be your helpmate through all things, through sickness and health, through the good and the bad, through everything, comes to him and says, curse God and die. Man, wouldn't that bring your faith down a little bit? But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? In all this, did not Job sin with his lips? And man, that's got to be hard. When your wife is coming to you in your time of trouble and she's saying, curse God and die. And then Job just looks at her and says, Are you crazy, lady? Like, what do you mean curse God and die? God can give us blessings, but he can also send us through hardships. And although we know that Satan was the one causing these things, God allowed it to happen. God knew that Job would stay steadfast through all these things. And he says, You're crazy. Like, you speak as one of the foolish women speaketh. What do you mean, curse God and die? He says, Shall we be received good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? He's saying right here, man, we receive all these good things. Is it not only fair that we receive the bad things too? And then this is where I really wanted to go with this video today, and this is where I want to stick for a little bit, is this 11 through 13 here, talking about Job's friends. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Nemathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept, and they rent every one of his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads towards the heaven. Keep in mind, that's exactly what Job done in chapter 1. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spake a word unto him, for they saw that his grief was very great. And that's where I want to stick to for today is like, man, how much better friends can we be? How much better friends can we find? You know, we may have these friends that say they're there for us all the time, but they're never there. We may be that person. We may say, "Oh, we're there for you. Call me whenever." And then somebody calls us and we don't pick up the phone. You know, woe is me. I do the same thing. I have people text me all the time. I'm the worst about ignoring text messages, ignoring Snapchats, ignoring DMs, all this kind of stuff. I'm awful about it. I really do need to get better. But how many times have we, I'll move this over here, that way I ain't going to be talking over to the side. How many times have we said that and then not followed through when we said it? How many times have our friends been going through something like, oh, it's affecting them, it's not affecting me. So why do I need to worry about it? You know? And so many times, my pastor said this the other day in our group chat, in our preachers group chat. He says, how many times do people say that when we're going to pray for something, I wonder how many times those people feel like, oh, they're just putting it off. That way they don't got to talk to me about it right now. How many times do we actually do that? All right. And so it's so encouraging here to have Job's 3 friends here come to him, and they don't even speak a word to Job for 7 days and 7 nights. They just sat down, rent their clothes, humbled themselves before God, prayed for Job, and just mourned with him. How many more times can we do that for our friends? When our friends are feeling down, man, we don't even got to know what's going on. Of course, they heard about it, but they didn't go and ask him. They didn't make it worse by asking him, bringing up back those things to their mind. They just sat down, didn't speak a word, and prayed and mourned with them. And I think that's so beautiful, and I think that's what a godly friendship should be, is to where we can just go and we can go with our friends and we can sit and we can pray with them and we don't even got to know what it is. Maybe they're going through a hard time. Maybe they're trying to get pregnant and they can't. Maybe they're um, been praying for some family members for a really long time and feels like their prayers are hitting the roof. Maybe they're just struggling with something. Maybe they're struggling with some sin. Why do we have to ask them about that? Just sit down and mourn with your friends. They're your friends, you know? Why do we feel the need to know everything about everyone at all times? Not everything should be between you and your friends. Some things should be between you and God only. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Pray about it. And if you're that friend, go and help them pray about it. And you don't have to know what it is. You don't have to bring that back up to their mind. Because if it is a sin, maybe you bring that back up to their mind. Especially if it's like lust or something like that. You may bring it back up to their mind, and then it may cause them to go and sin later if they're thinking about those things. Man, just sit down, mourn, pray. You don't even have to speak a word if you just sit down, mourn, and pray with them. And we'll go here into chapter 3 this next time. And they'll talk about it. They'll talk about this after they've prayed about it and after Job feels a little bit better about this entire thing. But try and be a better friend this week to those around you. Try and be a better friend to your actual friends, the people that you call friends. Try and be a better friend to them. Sit down, pray for the people that you love, pray for the people that you don't love. Remember to love people. Bye, guys.